Let's see what this is. Shocking and garbage stats, so I don't care. Yeah, Crips 41. Holy crap, this run. This is the run that will never end. Honestly, at this point, save for like some really freak accident, I don't think this run can end. Freak accidents include me losing my save file, somehow spike protection stopping, me destroying too many shrines? God, this is a lot of ghosts. You know what? We're doing this wrong. Oh, yep, they're hiding in the walls. This is a mess. But, so, originally kind of decided on this in high school. I wanted to be a art teacher. I didn't even want to be anything related to games. I didn't even think that game art was, like, really a feasible thing. And, like, I think I thought about it, like, once or twice, but I never really thought about concept art. Or, you know, functional game art or anything. That kind of came from doing game jams and stuff. Let's see. But so, I wanted to be a high school art teacher. I didn't want to be like a lower level art teacher because I think that would have driven me mad. Because I'm not very good at babysitting. I'm much better at being like, here's a cool thing, do it, and I'll tell you how well you did. Which I think you could kind of get away with in high school. Honestly, I'd be a better college professor, but I didn't know if I'd ever have enough experience for it. And then somewhere along the way, I also wanted to be like a webcomic artist and kind of do that as my thing. Unfortunately, I mean, people are already critiquing me for my, like, ADHD. I'm really bad at, like, sticking to certain things. And, like, I'm not gonna say I'm floored that I managed to keep up with YouTube this long, because I don't actually have ADHD. It's just a matter of, like, I get really passionate about multiple things, which is kind of a bad thing in ways, because it would be better to specialize in a lot of ways. But, I feel like I'm kind of making it work in this situation. I think part of it is, like, the variety of games helps. Absurdly. Well, that was a trap. God, I would have hated to go through there without spike protection on. But yeah, so I wanted to be an art teacher. And then I quickly dropped that dream because it's like, it's not worth it. There's no real future in it, and honestly, most high school... So the reason why I wanted to be a high school art teacher was because all of my art teachers that I ever had, complete garbage. Like, my art... the director of the art department in high school for me was a musician. He didn't do artwork. I don't know when he ever did artwork, but it wasn't within the last 20-30 years. I think he just became an art teacher because he literally had nothing else he could do in life. Am I on fire? Oh, I'm standing on spikes. I was wondering about that. Luckily, I'm immune to damage, considering the situation. There's just a mountain of corpses here. It's ridiculous. Hey, Mauler. Wow, Mauler, you are on early. But so, I wanted to be an art teacher because, you know what? I wanted to actually be a good teacher. I've, you know, since lost that dream and stuff like that, but, yeah. Satari says, I picture you as a chill art teacher who gives everyone A's for trying, but if they don't try, they get an F. Yeah, that's actually pretty much exactly, what I wanted to be. Because I really do not like unmotivated people. I'm not an art teacher. I wanted to be. And I've kind of nixed that dream because... Not worth it? Interesting. Oh! Wow, this is different. Blew up the deranged. Weirdly enough, and apparently punching the ground, actually. Whoa. Holy crap. Something determines swim speed, and I don't know what it is. It's probably my speed step. But, like, that is absurd. But yeah, so I wanted to be an art teacher, and, like, maybe someday, if I have, like, nothing better to do with myself as, like, a retirement thing, I could do some kind of teaching position. But honestly, I don't think I'd ever want to teach high schoolers, just because, in retrospect, high schoolers probably one of the most unmotivated group of people in the universe. I know, I was one of them, like, 10 years ago. Shit. I guess I was just getting into high school, like, 10 years ago. Was I? Yeah. Yeah, because I've been out of college for 2 years. College for 4. And high school for 4. So that makes sense. Jesus Christ, that is absurd how that works. Okay, Okay, so we're just gonna pop up and down here until we don't blow up the blood shrine, because it sucks when you break them. But so, I wanted to be an art teacher, then I wanted to be a webcomic artist, then eventually I was just like, video game art, why not? It seems to be the most challenging form of artwork available, because honestly, I hated any kind of, like, illustrative design, you know, magazine illustration, stuff like that. I did not like it. But so... gave up on being an art teacher, gave up on webcomics mainly because I never had the time in college to kind of work on it. I might have actually been a better webcomic artist if I'd never gone to college, but then again, not going to college is kind of a dangerous thing as well. But let's see. So, cool random factoids about me going to college. I didn't actually live in the standard dorms, I actually belonged to a computer science frat. I've mentioned this a couple of times. But so if I ever seem like a overwhelmingly techie person, part of it is like, you know, just baseline, you know, predisposition for being a tech type person. Is this the game music? No, it is not double. This is my own music. I got sick of Vagante music again. It happens when you have 170 videos, I think, of this game at this point. It's getting absurd. By the way, I can one-shot, or like two-shot the, I can two-shot the, oh, no, 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 no. Oh. I don't know if you guys saw it, but a hand just went into the abyss again. They still can do that, and I don't know why. I don't like it. Okay, I don't see any crawling around there, but I do see a lot of hands. Okay, there we go. Hands are done for. Okay, but, so, honestly, I've given up on a lot of, like, dreams and aspirations. I think a lot of it is kind of as a result of me not being particularly focused. Like, I hated high school because there's nothing particularly interesting in high school. It was all just, like, I don't know. Huh. Mahler, you do artwork. Did not know that. You'll have to show me your art. But so, I've given up on a lot of things, and eventually I want to be like a concept artist, or some kind of game artist along the way. But I don't know, I guess I decided... Well, I guess I've never decided. I still want to be a game artist. I think I'd rather work on indie stuff, just because concept art is cool, but it's kind of limiting in a lot of ways. But like, I don't know, we're doing the art for an indie game is just more fun and more personal and stuff like that. Also, I don't think I ever want to be like a big corporate type person, which is part of the problem. Like, I've already done that with Nickelodeon, and it was not pleasant. So, I guess post-grad, even before I graduated, I was working for Nickelodeon. I was actually working full-time at the, like, Nickelodeon satellite studio. As I was... Oh, interesting. He hit the sign. Didn't know that would happen. But I was already working there by the time I graduated, like while I was like the entire last semester of college effectively was spent working full-time, which was a nightmare. I hated it. For one, I don't like SpongeBob that much. For two, working 40 hours a week and then spending, you know, another 60 hours a week doing, you know, finals, homework, miscellaneous art projects, personal focus type stuff. Like, I was super burnt out by the time I was done with college, and I never had any time to breathe, because most people, you know, most people go off post-college and, like, maybe spend a month or two at home looking for work. Maybe they get lucky, get a job immediately, but you still kind of have breathing room. I burnt out on that job before I even graduated, which is kind of bad, and I think it, like, severely harmed my ability to get, like, jobs after the fact and stuff. Let's see. 53. I am 24. I'll be 25 in September. Other random fact. I think I've mentioned this before. My channel is... my channel's birthday is actually the same... I did this on purpose. I made my channel on my birthday. So I never have to worry about when I, you know... when I specifically need to celebrate the birthdays. The birthdays. 'Cause actually, I will admit, I don't really do much birthday stuff Like, not for this channel, not for anything else. So I actually tend to just ignore birthdays as a general thing. It kind of annoys Shell, because... I really do not care about most of them. Birthdays were always, like, super disappointing. I think I was talking to Bird about this one, but it's like, my birthday senior year of high school, literally none of my friends came. We actually had to fill people out because we had tag-alongs that effectively crashed the party because they had nothing better to do. And I was just like, alright, fuck it. You guys can come along with. Ooh, Catacomb Kids just got an update. Alright, looks like we're going to be playing that fairly soon. I think I'm going to get up to floor 50 in Vagante. I don't exactly know how far I'm going to get. Yeah, let's get up to floor 50 and then we can call it a night. I have no idea what floor I'm on. Unless we're already on floor 50 and then we'll go to 51. Just because. I move fast enough that I can just bypass the doors by, like, being super fast. Yeah, so, like, yeah, this is, like, weirdly, sad sob story type stuff, if you want to put it that way. I'm just going to keep taking these. How much mana does it cost to cast it? Everything. So Lightning is 12, Spirits is 14, Blink is 10, Magic Missile is 9, Fireball is 11, Chain Lightning, Heal, Frost Free, of course. Ice Ball Dash has been reduced pretty heavily. Be kind of cool if I can get to free dash, but still. Yeah, no, that's probably too small of a patch for a poet to be done. But so when I had my 18th birthday, part of the problem is we're on Crypts 44. Alright, 6 more floors, and then we can switch over to other stuff. Somebody remind me when we're on Crypts 49, because I'm totally not going to remember. We'll probably end up going to Crypts 51 anyway. But so 18th birthday rolls around, and I've sent out, you know, invites, Facebook whatevers. Because Facebook was, like, all the rage at the time. I guess Facebook still is, I just have not used it in, like, half of a decade, if not longer. I have no use for it 90% of the time. All of the people I communicate with are Let's Players. And so, like, YouTube is effectively my Facebook, which is kind of funny. But so... I send out invites. I've invited like 20-30 people, because I know there are going to be no's, but like I've asked, you know, my 2 best friends, who are actually they were best friends to each other, which was kind of unfortunate, and in retrospect, like a terrible idea. Like, never be third wheel to anything. Be it a relationship, or especially be it somebody else's best friendship, because you end up just being second, third, or like 5th fiddle that nobody really gives a shit about, and you just kind of get... you know, ignored. Unless, like, it's kind of like an even triumvirate. But if there's any level of inequality, you're just gonna feel kind of burnt by the whole situation. So I was friends with these, you know, 2 fairly fun people, and honestly, they probably weren't even best friends in any way, shape, or form, but they were the people I hung out with the most. Because unfortunately I made the really stupid decision to date somebody within my friend group. So, you know, there goes one person from the, like, friend situation. But she never had any time anyway, so it's like, alright, nobody to hang out with. But so, I invite these 2 girls, plus, like, a bunch of my other friends. Do not want to go through the door. Gotta make sure I don't do that. Oh, they fixed it so exit doors are not the walls. Good. That was kind of annoying the other day. But so I invite these 2 girls, plus, you know, miscellaneous other friends. Plus my brother, plus some of my brother's friends, because my brother's friends were cool. My birthday rolls around. Now, mind you, my birthday is September 10th, so depending on kind of the school district you're in, that is frequently, at least in the school district I was in, the first day of school for some people. Or at least pretty close to. So for me, it was usually like middle of the week, first week of school, to the point where a lot of people would be busy. Because suddenly, you know, school's back, everybody's off of vacation, yada yada yada. So, unfortunately, what ends up happening is I get a bunch of, like, Facebook yeses, a couple of Facebook maybes, and I'm like, you know what, whatever, we get a small showing. I want to say 3 people showed up. And I'm like, alright, fine. I'm just going to identify this just to see what it is. Spirit Emitter would be horrifying. Yeah, day before 9/11. My birthday party was on like, actual 9/11. Hey, Dodo Man, how's it going? But so, my birthday party was on legitimately 9/11, and one of my friends... Oh, I didn't murder the shopkeeper. It's too far away. One of my friends actually had a parent, not on the plane or in the buildings, but, like, in one of kind of the adjacent buildings, and so he pretty much ruined the birthday party, because, I mean, he didn't directly ruin it, but, everybody went to kind of go comfort him, which I totally, like, don't mind, but as... God, 9/11 was what, 2001? I think I was just turning 11. It was 2001, right? I was just turning 11. As an 11-year-old, having a bunch of people skip out into your birthday party to go hang out with each other to make one of them feel, you know, better. There's some amount of, like, that hurts. I think that was kind of the beginning of the end for birthdays for me. And also it does not help that I've moved, like, 7 times in my life, maybe more. So, like, I've never actually had a dedicated friend group that, like, has been consistent. Which kind of loops back into this, like, you know, 18th birthday party thing, where 3 people out of 30 show up, and it's like, okay! And these are, like, the satellite friends that I almost never hung out with, either. The people that, like, are there in your friend group, but, like, they don't hang out with you that much, and they really don't know much about you. Like, that's who these people were. And then then I get a call from, like, a slightly closer friend, but, like, not really that close, like, never been to said person's house, or hung out after, like, on a weekend or anything like that. And I get the call from this person, and they're like, oh yeah, so I've got some friends over. I'm like, my birthday. She's like, I know, but they wanted to hang out. And I'm like, well, okay, fine, whatever. Can they come with? Fine. Like, at this point, I'm super salt. Like, the Wonder Salt has been a consistent thing throughout life. But, I try not to get, like, real life salty too much. Because that's, like, bad. Just bad. But so, eventually, she comes with, like, 2 or 3 extra people. I actually do not remember, because for the most part, it was a very unmemorable birthday. So we managed to effectively double the birthday party, just by inviting random people. And of course, you know, gifts are not a thing at this point, or at least not in my case. I don't know, whatever. But so... we all go to laser tag. I fucking love laser tag. I'm fairly good at it, too. I would do the all-night Iron Man type deals, because all-night laser tag is really fun. You're also very tired and sweaty by the end of it. I regret nothing whenever I go. Bust these guys up. Let's see. I fought the boss. Did I open up the chest? I did not open up the chest. It's got to be, like, right over here. But, so we doubled the birthday party, and it's just... I mean, it's fun, but, like, you invite a bunch of people and then you don't get them, and it's just like, huh, where'd my friends go? Turns out they're hanging out with their boyfriends. That was it. That was it. That was their excuse. They were too busy hanging with their boyfriends. I get really angry at people who, like, will say, I was too busy hanging with somebody else at this point. It was pretty much the end of that friendship. I stopped hanging out with them. These were the people that were cool only when they were single. And, like, that sounds kind of like a... oh, God. I sound like one of those guys that's, like, been friend-zoned heavily. But the problem is, like, I wasn't even friend-zoned. I was, like, I was only in the friend zone when they were single. And then from there, I wasn't even in any zone post-singleness. It was just like, alright, bye, Wanderbot. Have a good life. And it's like, okay. This is life now. But, like, pretty much from that point on, it was just like, alright, I'm not friends with you guys anymore. So I think, actually, like, within a couple weeks, I probably resubscribed to World of Warcraft at that point. Which I do not regret in the slightest. Because, goddamn, did you know, that shitty-ass 18th birthday, kind of remind me that just like, I don't have friends. Okay, let's make do with what we got. So that's kind of like how YouTube even happened. Yeah, friend-zoned robot. But that's kind of how YouTube happened, because, like, post-college, all my friends, like, went off to California, wherever, because unfortunately, all of my friends in college were fairly bigwig computer scientists, like with a lot of connections. So like, I can't count the number of friends that I have that currently work in Mountain View, California for Google, and this is just Google. If I tried to like count the number of friends working for the big 4 tech industry companies, it's just not. I have too many of them. So I'm kind of odd duck being the only artist. And so like post-college, everybody else goes out over there and, you know, everybody's crap at socializing remotely. So it's just like, alright, bye guys. I am still here working for Nickelodeon. I'm super depressed. So I started doing YouTube. That is the background of the Wanderbot. I don't know, there's more to it, but like, origin story. My origin story is depressing. I'm just like, I'm lonely. Let's play video games with random strangers online and make a business out of it that may turn into a career. But you know what? That's like, I will actually admit, this is part of the reason why. Oh, who is Shell? I should probably mention that to people that haven't seen. Shell is my fiance. She's on videos from time to time. She might be on a couple of videos soon, just because we're going to be recording together. Unfortunately, trying to like build up a YouTube channel, do kind of pointless job applications and stuff. I did get a key, right? I think I did. Hard to tell, but there's not a whole lot of room for rent money in my income right now, which is kind of bad. So Shell lives with her parents, I live with mine. Do not like, but still. But let's see. What do I say the other 3 are? So as far as I'm concerned, the big 4 tech companies are Amazon, Google, Microsoft, and Apple. I don't really consider Facebook to be really big 4, because when I think big 4, I'm thinking of like software companies that do a lot of everything. So Apple has, you know, well, Apple's pretty iconic. Microsoft is super iconic. Google's super iconic, and Amazon, I mean, originally was just like a shipping thing, but now they've got music, now they've got their own games studio, which is actually really cool. But there's a lot of them. But no, my backstory's kind of stupid, kind of lonely. I don't know. Part of the reason why I don't like recount it that much is just because it actually makes me feel kind of bad about myself, because it's just like, I don't have good reasons for doing YouTube compared to some people. I mean, at this point I do it because it's a lot of fun. Like, it is way more fun to sit down and, like, you know, record an episode of this, you know, this game, stream it for people online, have people watch it, you know, get feedback, just, I don't know, just this. It's way more fun to do that than, like, job applications or working in freaking SpongeBob all day long. But so, like, one of the biggest impetuses that I have for actually, you know, going full-time and, you know, making it as a YouTuber is effectively so that I can kind of look at all the people in life that have ever, not, like, ditched me for things, but, like, all of the people that ever kind of snubbed me. And, like, you know, there are a lot of people... Oh, shoot. How the hell am I supposed to deal with this? Oh, okay. He almost sent me into the next chamber. Oh, we've cleared them out. Perfect. Thank you. But... So, I mentioned it was part of, like, a computer science dorm. Which was awesome. But as the only artist, you do actually, like, as an artist, you get a lot of flack from people that aren't artists, or people that, you know, haven't done artwork, or really just, you get a lot of flack from dickbags who are like, you know, art is not a legitimate profession. So, oh god, are we going to, do I finally tell this story? I mean, I could finally tell the story about, like, why I don't have friends, period. Outside of, like, internet friends, which is kind of, yeah, fuck it, seeing as we're talking about this. And, like, at this point, I'm emotionally de-invested enough that I don't feel particularly angry about it, apart from just being, like, moderately indignant. But so I belong to a computer science frat, effectively. And it was fun. It was a group of nerds. We do tech projects, we do a lot of stuff. And, like, it was a cool place to live. for the first 3 years of my college life. 3.5, 2.5 really. But so, unfortunately, like, you get people that just don't respect art. It just happens. Like, there are people who think art is a waste of time, think it's a waste of whatever, and they just look down on you. So there were a lot of people that were, like, computer scientists. There were a lot of people that were computer engineers. I find the engineers tended to be a little bit more judgmental, interestingly enough. The computer science people were, I think, a little bit more artsy, just because, I mean, computer science is cool, but without some level of art, most computer science is actually kind of bunk. Because, like, you need graphics user interfaces. Hey, that's a pork chop. Haven't seen a pork chop in, like, 40 levels. Ugly bot, thus no friends. No, I don't think I'm that ugly. I got a weird face, but it's not like a bad face. It's just odd facial features. The smallest nose in the universe. But so, you get a lot of flack from people that are judgmental. And generally unjustly so. Usually because they're assholes. There are some people that legitimately think, you know, art is a waste of time in life. And these are usually the people that I think are the least interested people in the universe. And, like, maybe this is just a misconception, but you know what? If they're gonna judge me, I'm just going to make assumptions that they are boring people. But being creative is hard. And it's fun. And honestly, in a lot of cases, it's pretty thankless. So I don't know if people have heard my stories from Catacomb Kids where I talked about the girl with the mustache. Actually, come to think of it, I was doing that earlier this run. So, she actually respected, you know, kind of the art side of things, because she always wanted to do a webcomic too, but she couldn't do the art. So she always was kind of like, you know, art's super cool, I wish I could do it, you know, one of those people. And, you know what, I like to talk to those people because at least they have a passing interest, so there's, like, kind of common ground, so you can kind of talk about it. And, of course, usually those are the kind of people that are a little bit more open-minded to a heck of a lot of things. Unfortunately, her boyfriend, I think I mentioned this, actually, during the Valentine's episode. Her boyfriend, starting junior year of college, didn't think art was a worthwhile endeavor. Or more per se, he thought it was a fun side hobby that nobody should ever do. And that, like, kind of within the grounds of the computer science frat, anybody that did anything that wasn't computer science, or hardware, or engineering, or, like, any of that kind of thing, he just stole, like, 500 gold from me. He's going to die for that. But the abomination will die first. But so, this guy did not think much of art. This guy also turned into a gigantic a-hole. So, he's one of 7. The second was the chairman, the president of the club at the time. Club frat, I don't actually know what, like, the leaders of frats are called. This guy was even more so. This guy never liked me, period. To the point where, actually, the first time I ever met him, he walked away from me once he realized who I was, because he had no interest in me as a person. Singularly one of the rudest experiences I've ever had in my life. And, like, I truly think back to it every once in a while, and there's, like, some level of, I'm gonna say, like, vindictive rage against this person, because the second time I ever met him was a couple hours later. We were playing a game called Capture the Disc, which is Capture the Flag, but with old-ass computer hard drive platters. It's actually really fun, but, because, like, you know, bikes are involved, and you do it in the dead of night, and you throw beanbags instead of tagging people, though you can still tag people with it. So effectively you can use any vehicle as long as you can get your hands on it. So people had cars. It was great, running in trying to capture the flag in a car. It was very Grand Theft Auto-y. Unfortunately, there weren't a whole lot of rules, regulations, or standards, so this guy realized that he could quite easily punch me as hard as he could in the face and get away with it because he tagged me. So he didn't, I don't think he broke my nose. I think my nose is too small to break, because there's just nothing there to break, comparatively. But, he slugged me, like, super hard and, you know, effectively knocked me out. Because I vaguely remember somebody being like, yo, Wander, you okay? And I'm like, nope. Except for it was more like, gah, because I was on the ground. and not a happy camper, to say the least. But so, that was, like, the first and kind of last time I ever interacted with him, and eventually I got him to, like, not really approve of me, but I think eventually he got to the point where he just, like, gave up trying to be, like, bad? Like, kind of a dickbag to me, until he was chairman of the frat. Now, of the frat, people that, like, people that were in positions of leadership honestly did not have any power. They really did not. There was nothing they could do, apart from, you know, just kind of be loud and in charge and every once in a while make important decisions. This guy was one of those that wanted more. This is the guy that actually decided that he had the authority to knock down a whole wall in the dorm, because he was the leader. And he did it, and I think he almost got expelled, and I'm not entirely sure why he wasn't impeached, purely based on the demands of the university, but whatever. So he knocks down a, he knocks down a wall with, like, a group of other people. And, I mean, okay, fine. But it's just kind of, like, setting the tone of this guy. Like, this guy did not give a shit about other people, rules, regulations, or anything of the sort. So he becomes chairman, and he gets, like, super hardline about everything. To the point where, like, a lot of people are unhappy, because he's just not a nice person, he's not approachable, and whatever. So, one of the requirements to be a part of this frat is every year you had to do a major extracurricular project. And so me, being me, I was like, hey, I'll make a game. And seeing as I'd never really, you know, done programming before, I was like, alright, I will make a Flash game, like a Flash tower defense. I found, like, a really nice looking tutorial and started following it. Unfortunately, I made the mistake of following it too closely. And, like, I'm not exactly proud of this, but there were moments where I, like, legitimately did copy and paste from the tutorial. Not because, like, I couldn't do it, but because shit didn't work. And then I rewrote it, and then it was word for word anyway, save for my own comments and stuff like that, and, like, a couple of, like, math-based things. But if you look it up, it's like, alright, fine. It's not very unique Wanderbot code. But then again, that was just, like, the baseline, like, here's how you put down a tower, here's how you do whatever. And then, you know, I went from there and added more stuff to it. Now, if I were to do this, I'm not sure what I would do as far as programming, but honestly, for the first game I ever made in my life, for the first game I made in my life, I don't feel too guilty about very closely following a tutorial up until, like, what I ended up doing was, like, a lot of really clever stuff on top of what I already had. So, like, yeah, I guess you could, I don't know, I guess you could call it plagiarism, but it's also not for school. The entire point of these projects wasn't to create a unique product to sell or anything like that. It was simply to learn. Like, they were called learning projects, for crying out loud. And, I learned a hell of a lot of ActionScript. In fact, I could probably remake the thing without any issues at this point in time. And I did end up actually recoding the entire thing as a result of this. But I show it to the guy, and I'm like, you know, here's my concerns. You know, I followed the tutorial kind of closely. Here's my code. How does it look? And he's like, you know, don't worry about this. It looks unique enough that it's not going to be a problem. Like, word for word, effectively that. So, you know, I expressed my concerns with how I had made the game, and he was like, nah, don't worry about it. And yeah, ActionScript, whatever. It's a very good beginner's programming language, because you can make a game pretty much without having to do, like, any extra weird stuff. I mean, there's a reason why Flash games were super popular on Newgrounds for a while, because programming in ActionScript is easy. So, I go over this with the guy, and he's like, yeah, no problem. And this is like mid-November, December. Now, end of February, I go to Croatia. I've mentioned Croatia a number of times. Don't cry whatever I do. I'm not, like, do I sound like I'm crying? No, I shouldn't be. But so, end of February, beginning of March, I go to Croatia as part of study abroad. And before that is spring break. Spring break being, you know, kind of the whole, you know, week off. I get an email partway through spring break from this guy. No, not even from this guy. One of my friends on the executive board of the frat being like, you know, they're demanding we, like, kick you out of the student organization. It's like, wait, what? Like, what? That was effectively it, and I will not lie, I had kind of a mental breakdown of being like, what did I do? What did I do wrong? Because, like, nobody told me. They didn't even mention this to me. There's no point in the process where it's like, hey, Wanderbot, how did you do this thing? Like, why did you do this thing? What is this thing? That there was just no point where I was actually consulted in any way, shape, or form, apart from one of my friends on the group in the board being like, yeah, they're gonna kick you out. This is floor 49. I think I'm gonna finish the story, and then we'll finish. Just because I don't want to make this a two-parter, because I'm totally gonna forget between now and the next episode. Alright, but so, for crying out loud, that's a good point. But so, nobody consults me. Alright, fine, like, I guess they can do what they want, they're the executive board. But, for me, this was, like, a huge issue. Because I mentioned, like, two people. The leader, and then the other guy that was kind of a dick. There was also my roommate from freshman year, who was kind of an asshole, but I never really realized it until after the fact. Like, this is the kind of guy that thought it was okay to physically abuse people, because he was bigger than him. I think he was, like, 6'2", and, like, 260 pounds, 230 pounds, something like that. He was also balding, which I was the only person who knew that he was balding, save for, like, one other person. Because he was just taller than everybody else, so he didn't have to worry about people finding out. We're gonna finish floor 50. I don't think I have too much more. So there's him. Then there's, like, his partner, who is actually one of my good friends, but tended to take, like, second fiddle to my roommate because, well, my freshman year roommate. Because my freshman year roommate was very domineering comparatively. And so, like, I never actually realized as part of this that we had stopped being friends, but the amount of vitriol that my freshman year roommate sent to me in regards to this issue was just absurd. Like, I thought we were friends. Guess not. Alright, fine. But so, effectively what I find out is that every single person on the executive board of the frat didn't like me. And therefore had no interest in, like, listening to me. I sent, like, I want to say a good 30-40 emails in a period of, like, 3 days. You know, appealing, explaining, questioning, all sorts of things. Like, it took 2 weeks for me to even get a response from the chairman guy about why he suddenly had a change of mind, at which point his point was, you should have known better. And it's like, what should have I not... What? Like, what should I have known better? I asked you. Directly, word for word. I even had, like, not a transcript, but I had people present that could vouch for the fact that I asked these questions. And, you know, he didn't give a shit. He was already, you know, well into the process of getting me removed from the group. So, what is exactly, you know, being removed? What exactly did this mean? This meant, that I was in a foreign country after the housing registration was over. With no way of getting to the registrar's office, which is the only way that you could actually sign up for housing. Like, I actually contacted housing as a result of this, and it's like, hey, so I can't live here anymore, and they're like, tough, you should get an apartment off campus, because everywhere else is full. Oh. Okay. Well, except for the hotel. The school had a hotel that students could live at, but it was also 10 miles away. I never had a car. It was pretty bad. But so... Wow. Look at that. 12 strength, 18 dexterity, 11 luck. Next time I do this, I'm not god-cursing anything. Wow. But so, effectively, I get kicked out. Every single person that had a vote in the matter hated my guts. And all of my friends that I, like, tried contacting to, like, kind of help me out, vouch for me. Because, like, my roommate... my roommate, junior year, who saw me working on this consistently, I emailed him about, like, you know, hey, can you go and talk to these people and vouch for me and stuff like that. And effectively, he told me he was too busy because he had too much stuff going on in his own life. And I think that was kind of the point where it's just, like, some part of me, I'm not going to say, like, broke, because that's ridiculous. But, yeah, gotta love unbiased boards. Yeah, I have issues with some level of leadership as a result of these things, because it's just like, I do not trust people that, you know, don't have any kind of, like, checks and balances as a result. But, you know, my friends were either mutually friends with the people on this executive board or whatnot. I guess we're doing one more floor. But, so they were unbiased in the... Well, everybody was biased, and anybody that either wasn't biased or a good mediator was either disinterested or didn't want to get in the middle of it. So it was effectively a 1v8? I want to say it was something like that. But so, pretty much over the course of, like, a week, I realized that I had no friends. And from there I actually did some kind of, like, weird stuff, where Shell had an apartment on campus, so I ended up being her secret roommate, because she didn't want to tell her roommates that I was living with her, which was honestly, if you ever think of doing this, tell everybody. Be honest with it, because she almost got in, like, serious trouble for not wanting to tell anybody, because she didn't want anybody to say no, and it's like, you realize, if they said no after the fact, I'd be in even more trouble, but whatever. You know, what is done is done. Yeah, bot is depressed. And, like, realistically, this is actually probably one of the better things that could have happened to me, but it happened in the worst way possible. Because at that point, like, it was junior year. I was going to Croatia. I didn't want to have... having ties to the US would have only, like, you know, distracted me from doing stuff in Croatia. So that was kind of fun. Except for the fact that, you know, I spent the entire first week in Croatia recoding a video game that I had already coded, like, twice over. Because at this point, I had recoded it so it would be completely original. And that wasn't good enough for them. Mind you, they actually did have me rewrite the entire thing, prove that it was, you know, completely original code, save for, like, 2 bits of math that I couldn't rewrite no matter what, because I don't know how to write an aiming algorithm for towers in a tower defense game. But so... So, like, I wasted a lot of time while I was there, but, you know, after this, senior year rolls around, and I had nobody, literally nobody, to distract me from doing all of my artwork and then some, which is actually kind of nice. So, I guess the silver lining was, I had a lot more free time as a result. But, like, it's a sad day when you find out that all of your friends aren't really your friends, or at least when your friends don't have your back, which pretty much means you don't have friends. So, that's kind of looping back to the, like, Wanderbot origin story of, like, Wanderbot has online friends, where, you know what, if they stop being good friends, you can just kind of let them go on the internet, and you don't have to worry about them anymore. This is a nice feeling, actually. There's something free about having friends that will hang out with you because they want to hang out with you, not because they feel somehow obligated to do so. Which is cool. The game was not developed for a client and for money at all. It was a shitty Flash game. I didn't even do art for it because I wanted to focus purely on the learning programming side. Vess and Weeze, how's the luck tonight? I have 12,000 gold. Shit. That's ridiculous. But, so yeah, that's why I do YouTube. Because friends. And it's nice. Though if I ever seem, like, particularly kind of mopey about the fact that I don't have anybody to play with, it's usually because all of my good YouTube buddies have quit doing YouTube, and that gets depressing from time to time. In fact, I would actually say it's more depressing to lose YouTube friends, almost, because all the fun people stop doing YouTube and then won't hang out with me anymore because they don't have time. That is actually kind of sad. Like, more sad than usual. But either way, I'm not terribly broken up about it, and it is Catacomb Kids time. So, enough with Storybot. Let's go die a lot.